So the same year that you were selected as a champion of change and by the Obama White House, you were also chosen as a Grand Marshal for Atlanta Pride and honored for being an LGBT pioneer in your city. Have you always lived in Atlanta?
Yeah, this is my home. I was born and raised here. I'm a Southern Belle. Uh, this is me. Every time I go to California, they always ask me, why you don't come out here to California? I said, oh, I would love to. It feels so free, when I go out there. But I know where my destiny lies, so it'll be different if I didn't know. Then I might move.
And your destiny is there in Atlanta?
hmm
Yeah. Well, and what's special about Atlanta?
It's a little slower than New York, and it's a large gay population here. Um, we're advancing as far as criminal justice system is, um, which is really been a major point in my life at this point, with changing the culture of the Atlanta Police Department, changing the courts and the way that they deal with trans people. Because it used to be horrible when you went down to the courthouse, Superior Court. Even from the time you went in, past the guards, to your whole experience there was horrible. But it was a judge there who I thought was public enemy number one because I was doing focus groups at the jail with trans women that were being locked up for sex work. And they was just terrified of this judge. His name was Judge Riley. And they was just so, I mean, they were crying when they just heard the name. They didn't want to go before him. And I said, well, what is he doing? And they said, well, he's sentencing us people that are arrested for solicitation and stuff like that. He's sentencing them to 6 months when you're usually in jail just for a weekend, 2 weeks. And he was sentencing them to 6 months. So when I finally got a chance to meet him, he called me in his chamber and he said, Miss Didi, I just want you to know, um, the reason I give the trans women 6 months is because he said there's no other services for them. He said I have no other alternatives for them. He said, so I have to. My reasoning for doing it, if they stay in jail for 6 months, maybe they'll change their mind about the kind of work that they are in, or about maybe they'll be able to sober up enough to try to make something out of their lives or something by being in jail for 6 months. Yeah, it was
Wow.
something. But if it was that same judge that helped me to change the whole culture in the court system. The way that they misgender trans women, calling them Mr. and Sir and he and all that, and all that, doing trainings. Like they had me do a training for seven of the judges that were in the municipal court, and the chief judge was there that day too. So when I got through doing the presentation on telling them if you would give me just a third of the money you use to lock people up with, I could take a third of that money and have a transformation house and help them get their GEDs, help them get the support they need to go ahead on and try to get jobs and stuff like that. That's what the presentation was all about. So after I got through, Judge DeVoe, who was one of my main judges that sentenced me during my days of doing sex work, he says, Miss Didi, don't I know you? I said, yes, Your Honor. He said, I thought that was you. I knew you from every ponytail and wig this side of Ashby Street. Whoever thought I'd be up here listening to you? I said, I know your honor, but God. He said, but God is right. I never would have thought. And then Judge DeVoe turned out to be one of my great advocates in the court system too. Him and Judge Riley. And I just that's God right there to me in my life when I see him do stuff like that. And then with the police force, like I guess it was a month and a half ago, I did a training for the recruits at the Atlanta Police Academy. Now they had to do real life scenarios, and they were getting graded on this by their superiors. From the time they came in the door, if they used the right pronouns, if they searched us the proper way they're supposed to, everything. And we had like three different scenarios that we tested them with, and it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, the last one we did was a domestic violence situation, which a lot of trans women find themselves in. When they call the police, they usually, once the police gets there and find out that they're trans, they go to jail. So this actually happened to me. When the officers actually arrest me in my own house doing the training. All of the girls that were with me that helped me do the training that day, all of them said this whole thing just resonated with them because it had actually happened to them. And that's how it happened. So just with that thing and then riding in front of the police car, oh, that was traumatic. Me, as many times as I done rode in the back, but I was riding in the front of the car, going down to the same place where I used to work at. But this time I was bringing the police to provide light that, they want to know why they're out there, what are the services that they need, and they want to know what services that they need. And they didn't arrest anybody. The girls were still doing their work all around us. Nobody was arrested. We didn't take down names. We just wrote down the services that they needed, what they was actually in need of. So the program that we are doing, the pre-arrest diversion program, is what all this is going to be around, which that happened. That was a miracle th- for the pre-arrest to come because they they had introduced the ordinance into the city council to banish the sex workers from Midtown. That's the only solution they could come up with. This Midtown is the gay mecca. It's got all the money. They got all these resources, but this the only thing you could come up with is to banish somebody. So when we rose up against it and we built a coalition of people to go down there and stand up against this ordinance, and the mayor tabled it, and he sent it to a working group to find a better solution. And we were part of the working group, so we found the Seattle LEAD program, which is the pre-arrest diversion program, and that's what we modeled the Atlanta program after. We got funding from the Ford Foundation, and the Ford Foundation sponsored the trips for the city council people, the police department, the mayor's office, everybody that was going to have to be a part of this program in order for it to work. They sponsored two trips to Seattle so they could see this program in action. Because when you see it, it's the impossible to have all these queens at the same table. You never seen so many queens before than in that city council. And and they actually, when the vote came down for the ordinance, they like held out to the end to the mayor. The mayor had to come on board before like half of them would come on board. So like an hour before the vote came up, the mayor shoots us a text that he's in. Okay, then all the rest of them start. We in, we in, we in, we in. So by the time the vote came up, we had the whole city council and the mayor. So now the program is in the stage for the model to go into place in the same area where they had the ordinance proposed that this program is going to be the model there. So, it's going to divert them out of the criminal justice system, period. They wouldn't even see the jail. They would go straight to case management, and then case management will assess what they need right then. Whatever, if they're homeless, if they need mental health, if they need substance abuse treatment, whatever they need, that would be handled there, and they would not even go to jail. Period. So it's that's a I feel like my living has not been in vain. I can go on the rest now.
it's,
I
it's,
would
it's so
never
amazing what
ever
you've
thought
done.
in my wildest dream this could ever be possible.